Welcome to the LaRae show. I have a very special guest in the building, my dear brother, friend, serial entrepreneur, Sir Evans. What is up?
Thanks for having me back, Leash.
You already know. Think about, man, this guy might as well take like a percentage.
I'm always blessed to be able to come out and join you on the show.
Yes.
Always,
Happy
always.
New Year.
Happy New Year as well. Happy New Year.
How's the year kicking off for you?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's busy, but it's beautiful. I told myself I was going to get some things in order and just kind of proper prepare myself for the year coming up. But it's going good. It's going good. It's blessed.
Good. Well, why don't you tell people who may not have saw any of our past episodes or collaboration together, why don't you just share a little bit about who you are and what you got going on?
Sure. So I'm Sir Evans. I'm a keynote speaker and consultant. I help people to hit their goals, and I help people to make sure that no goal is left behind in a nutshell, whether that's from their goal setting with maybe wanting to lose weight, whether it's from setting up some type of event or business plan, or even more recently through the last year is helping someone set up their political campaign and win an election.
Diversifying the range.
Diversifying.
I love
All goals
that.
matter.
All goals matter. Let's not make that a shirt. Although all of it is a shirt these days. So as relates to goals, I know that we work together for a few years now. So I'm curious on your recap because we haven't really got too deep into what 2022 was. Sure. So what's your recap for that year, which for me was like it felt like the longest year of my life. So I don't know what your experience was, but
yeah,
22 was long.
I think for me, 2022 was a long year, but it was short at the same time. And if I had to break it down another layer, I feel like 2022 was just the right amount of time.
Okay.
Right. There were a lot of highlights. There were a lot of things that were done well. There were a lot of learning opportunities in there too, and a lot of opportunities for growth. But then also there was some trauma. Right, there was some big grief. There was some big milestone moments. My brother passed away in 2022, which was a very somber moment, but it had a lot of layers that were unpeeled in 2022. Yeah. So I think it was the right amount of time, and I feel like 2023 is running right on the heels. I think people like to start a new year with a whole new chapter, but that doesn't mean that some of the same plays from the last chapter, some of the same characters don't roll over right out the gate. You know.
And that's one thing I can appreciate about you and a few others who are walking in that purpose-driven mentality as relates to like branding in your business and what you do. You use your story as your why, right? Mm-hmm. And I've obviously followed your work for a long time, and your transparency and vulnerability really is what, to me, makes you a distinction in the market that you're in. Because some people, as we know, we're in Cleveland, like we talk about like faking the funk or fake it till you make it type of thing. But I just can appreciate your honesty and vulnerability as it relates to the things that you've been to, whether it was grief, trauma, those obstacles and tribulations that you've shared that led you, and shaped who you are today.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Alysha. I think one thing that I've learned that's so beneficial is a lot of people, regardless of the industry, it's a lot of sizzle but no steak, right? So let's imagine, I used to love coming down for breakfast on the morning, right? Saturday mornings, and you could almost smell breakfast before you come downstairs. You know what's cooking down there, or at least you got an idea of what you think is cooking. Smell a little something like, okay, so you smell the ingredients simmering. Now just imagine you come down there and there's nothing cooking. Mom said, I wasn't cooking anything, but you smelt it. You had your hopes set, now you're hungry, your mind is all ticking like you're about to consume something. And it's so frustrating when you get down there's nothing there. And what I've realized so much in the industries, when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with business, a lot of people say they're cooking a meal, but there's nothing there when you go to eat. There's no value, there's no fruit, there's nothing that's being there to help the people. And I really strive to be intentional because the things that I've went through in my life, I didn't ask to go through.
Right.
But I'm blessed to be able to go through and to be able to help somebody else, right? And be able to help someone else to get to another situation, or really maybe even if they can avoid going through some of those same pitfalls or some of those same problems. But, it's all about being able to have that sizzle and that steak.
Right.
Feed the people. Feed the people. Don't be selfish. Feed the people.
Feed the people. In the process of that, though, you have to first feed yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to be fed. And I think a lot of times we want to help somebody, or we want to make
Sure.
money, we want to have a business and be entrepreneurs, but we don't have it to give it away. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of people give something away that they don't really own. So then I'm buying into something as a consumer, and I open up the box and I'm just like, yo, this is not what I bought, because it actually wasn't what they said it was, right? And that's what I love, about you and our relationship, and what we've been creating here is continuing to to be like, when I don't have it all figured out. First of all, I don't have to even tell you. A lot of times you'll hit me like, Leash, what's up? Because we know it's like that spirit to spirit connection that is very unique, and something that because I don't have that many relationships that walking in purpose, entrepreneurial, the brand, all of that. And then you also have that commonality of belief. So when you have those relationships, to me, is that that's very special, very, very special, and genuine. And I can appreciate, and that's why I think for us is like we've been able to work through the chaos, our own learning skills, our own working styles, and say, no, we're going to push through because we know there's something there deeper than maybe the surface level can project.
Yeah, I agree. And I think those layers are important. And a lot of times when people aren't able to give those back, first of all, they're not really able to peel back those layers on their own. I think a lot of times I go in knowing that the Lord is my foundation, right? But if I can't have that conversation with someone, which is totally understandable, everybody might not be in that same walk of life or at that same point. So we got to still find that layer that you're at and that point that you're at, whether it's a layer or it's a level. There's a difference, whether it's that layer, that level, and start peeling back and seeing how we can help and seeing how they can improve in that area, right? I think society, and I think the way that everything is going right now, everybody's in a hurry too. Right, so it's not only that they're in a hurry, they got a point to prove, without actually taking the time to slow down on themselves and also proving that point to themselves and also doing that internal work. Right, because I don't think either one of us is afraid to get in the mud and do that work because we know the work is beneficial. Right. So.
And it's the timing of it, because it comes in seasons, and so we try, because of a lot of it, social media, and you feel like it's a race. I got to be the first one to get the degree, or I got to be the first one to start the business, or have the studio, or whatever the case may be. But it's about the timing and what you're learning through the process is and how I've been able to learn. So when we think about the recap now going into 2023, what are you most excited about this year?
Doing the work. I'm excited about doing the work, and I'm going to tell you why. For those who may not know, I come from a background in music. Right, rapper, artist. That was my first love, was music. I learned business from it because I learned at an early age I want my business to be as sharp as my lyrics are. Right, they shouldn't be lopsided. And I almost lost my train of thought with that, but I didn't want them to be lopsided, right? But with music comes a lot of hustle, and I think even just our culture. Right, being a young black man in America, it's a lot against. It's a lot against us, and there's also a lot of point to prove. There's a lot I got a point to prove, even if I'm good at what it is that I do. And one thing that 2022 has showed me is that it's reminded me of, whether it's been through experiences, whether it's been through my mentor, you've done the work. And for anybody out there that needs that reminder, if you're doing that work, you have to be mindful that you're doing the work, even if you're not where you want to be at yet. And it's critical. A huge reminder. I'm doing the work, right? And I've done the work. Like I said, I've been through things I wouldn't wish on anybody, but I've already went through them, right? So it's no longer about proving that. It's no longer about that extra layer of hustle that comes with it, right? I've already done this. So now it's about showing up. Now it's about doing that work and doing it to the best of my abilities. And I'm so excited about that because I just see such a need in the market because, like I say, people aren't doing the work, and then people aren't doing the work that really needs to be done. That's having that impact, and that's being able to help people to grow and get to where they need to be.
Definitely. I love that. And I like the piece about understanding how you got here.
Sure.
Because it has been a lot, a whole life, and then you add the generational levels to it. but like you're here like
Mm-hmm.
for a reason,
Yeah.
and so that keeps also that light lit for us,
Mm-hmm.
in the process as well. And so I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what this year is gonna bring. Anything special that you're working on right now that
You always
I
get my gems out the gate.
always
She
try.
always get the gems out the gate. So it's a lot of beautiful things we're working on. The SuperPower Planner that launched last year. We're gearing up for 2023. Got some new products coming down the line for that. Um, like I say, really products that are aimed at helping people to strategize out their goals and being able to put them to paper, put them into action. So very excited about that. Um, and here's one. I'll share
All
this.
right, come on, I need an exclusive.
I'm working on a book.
Ooh,
Truth be told, the book is done.
done.
It's done. So, Lord willing, the book will be out this year. And the concept, I won't give out too much of the concept,
All right.
but I will share that I think that a lot of times we are beginning to let this body that we live in control the show, right?
This is true.
But if the spirit leaves the body, then how can the body function? So, really, in a nutshell, the book is kind of realigning the order of operations and how we can really have the most fruitful experience out of this vessel and the spirit that's navigating it. It's heavy. It's heavy.
Yes, I love that. No, that sounds really exciting. I know overdue, in the
Absolutely.
sense of, because I know you, I know how you operate. So I know
Sure.
I know you're ready to launch. And I feel like it's like every year, it us as creators, like it has to be something,
Sure.
right? Whether it's a planner
Mm-hmm.
or a song or whatever, a podcast, there has to be, you have to continue to create, because that's like what feeds the spirit,
Sure.
right? And it makes the body move. So that's exciting. I want to talk a little bit more about the planner,
Sure.
because this, to me, this is like, for to see it come to life and knowing like superpower has been part of your signature.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about what that means to you as well. But talk to us about the planner.
So, 2023 planner is out. So basically, it's an all-in-one planner, right? So whether you are trying to focus on your financial
it right
goals,
here, too.
sure, your financial goals, career goals, passion, mental, all of them are there. A lot of times we try to overlap what it is that we're focusing on and
Right.
not really having that space for each one. So I wanted to make sure that each spot had its intentional space there, also motivational messages throughout to keep you inspired. But keeping that in mind, I also know planning isn't fun, and we want to make it as fun as possible. So we got some cool go-go gadgets in there. So you have a built-in phone charger in there, so you can charge your phone on the go. Wireless capabilities too, and it has a flash drive. So if you're in a meeting, let's say you even have a presentation you have to do, you load it right on your superpower planner, take it into the meeting, and you're ready to go.
So dope.
So it's
Comes
been
in different colors.
different
All the
colors,
vibes.
4 different colors, different models coming out to this year, and it works great whether it's a consumer just needs one or whether it's a team that's looking to get one for their entire staff. It's working out beautiful.
So the superpower,
Sure.
right? Like, what does that mean to you? Because it's obviously something that you branded, you ran with it.
Sure.
I don't think I've actually sat in a conversation with you, at least when it's like a meet and greet or multiple people, that doesn't come up. So
Yeah.
what does that mean to Sir?
First of all, it's a great icebreaker, right? Because I really want to know what is somebody's superpower. And I'll never forget the first time. It was probably one of the first times I said it. And I remember a guy, he told me he was an engineer. And I don't care what you do for a living. That's not what I asked you. I asked you what's your superpower. So in a nutshell, your superpower is what makes you good at your job, right? My dad used to always tell me growing up, he said, son, it's not what you do, it's how you do it, right? So if I had to put that together with what my pop's knowledge, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's how you're good at your job. It's what makes you good at excelling, right? And what I've discovered is that a lot of people don't even know they have a superpower. Now we don't gotta let's not put a fancy thing on it, right? A lot of people don't realize they have something unique in them that they can offer to this world, right? We don't gotta jazz it up. A lot of people don't realize that. So we're going through life flipping buildings over with these superhuman powers. We're saving lives. We're building relationships. We're talking our friends off the ledge. We're going to work. We're creating these different things. All the while we're saying, That's not that special. Anybody can do that.
Right.
No, anybody can't do it. You're doing it. You're doing it, right? So it is your superpower. It is that unique thing that someone has to offer this world. But it also includes kind of their situations that they've went through that kind of helped them formulate that.
Yeah, I love it. And like funny stories, first time I met you, so we went to the same high school, different years, and we were in some type of business accelerator workshop with the students at John Marshall. And I remember you asking everyone around the room, this is probably like 2014, 2015, maybe sometime around there. And the question he asked the students was, what's your superpower? And I was like, why is this guy? And I also found, I did a post about it a couple of days later on my Facebook. And I was like, why is he asking what's his superpower? I never heard so I'm thought about it. I'm like, I don't know. I probably just threw out something cheesy that day just to fill the room, because it was like, sir, like looking at you like, what is your superpower? And I'm just like, I don't know, but let me just tell you a word so you just leave me alone. But that's something that that's continued to stick with me. Obviously now collaborating with you and co-creating with you over the years. And now I think about that when I work with other people, because it's like the 5 love languages in a relationship.
Absolutely.
You need to know the love language of who you're with so you can be able to cultivate it, give it, understand it, and vice versa. So when working with people, that superpower, I've always looked at it from that. Well, I've evolved now to look at it from that lens as well.
Sure.
So then I can be complementary to who I'm working with their superpower.
Yeah.
So what is your superpower?
I got a few of them, but I would probably say the strongest one is creativity.
Creativity.
Right. And when I think about that, creativity has been able to help me in a lot of times that it's not just in business, right? When I say it's your superpower, is what makes you good at life, right? When I'm going through hell and I'm in the midst of it, and my mother passed, right? And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm not going to see her ever again, right? Years and years and years and years. That's when you really think about it and the grief hits you, like, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Right? But creativity allowed me to have the mindset of, no, sir, we don't have to think about that every day. Just today. Right?
Yeah.
Just today. What are you going to do to navigate today? And today gets too hard. It's like, okay, sir, we need another creative way to come through this. Let's break that down to the second. This is too hard. Let's break that down to the minute. Right? So that creativity has also allowed me to navigate through tough situations where it's like, okay, that mindset allows me to think outside of the box in order to grow through something.
Right.
So that's it, right? That's the strongest one. And even when you said knowing the superpowers of the team and the people around you, even the 5 love language relationships, I love comic books growing up, and one of the ones that just jumps out to my head is the Justice League, right? Mm-hmm. Justice League is a DC group, kind of the DC version of the Avengers, right? Batman, Superman are the 2 probably most popular. But in order for them to work together, they had to know each other's superpower, right? Let's go a little deeper here. Not to geek out, but we got to expose some of these characters in order to understand. Batman is human. Superman is from another planet. Aquaman lives underwater. So if there's somewhere that requires underwater, they need to know that they got somebody on their team that can go there. If they need to go to outer space, they got somebody on their team that they know can go there. But if they don't know these superpowers, then they may send the wrong person to the wrong job. They may put the wrong person on the wrong assignment. So understanding that helps us to understand who we're working with, how we're working with them, and why we're working with them on so many different levels. That helps us to get to where we need to get to. Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that's part of critical, especially when you're working with other people from a creation standpoint, right? So your superpower being creativity, right? You can be great solo, right? There's some superheroes out there that didn't like working with the whole Avengers because they were so much ego and all of that in mind. But in the sense of how you apply your superpower daily, I think it's good to understand. So you have some tools. Obviously, the superpower planner helps you identify and work with it, and I know you also do some consultation. So I'm put you on the spot because that's I love to do that.
Sure.
My guy always performs under pressure. So LaRae, right? LaRae show. You've been familiar with the platform, familiar with me. What would you say the platform superpower is for LaRae? If you can give one word. Connector. See, you cheated because you use connector for me all the time.
Well, that's your.
So I'm connected to the platform, but But I'll let you give it. I'll let you give it. I'll let you keep that one.
Because it's here's the thing, it works on so many different layers.
Yeah.
That it is at its core. Like I could pull out so many other things that may be a byproduct of that, but they still more than likely come from that.
Right.
You know, in some shape, form, or fashion. And let's bring back our kind of foundation piece, because the Lord is the foundation. God is not my superpower. God is my all, right? You know what I mean? I'm allowed to have a superpower because of that. But your superpower comes from that, right? Your ability to connect and your desire to. And there's different conversations for different people. So I'll say this to the people who have that faith: it becomes a spiritual gift once you're using it to glorify the Lord, right? So like I said, there's different layers and different levels of conversations. A lot of people don't realize they have a superpower. So how can we even establish that you have a spiritual gift? Let's start at the basics here before we start working too high. But that connecting piece, it speaks out of your foundation and how you use it.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely. And we talked about this, as I've asked you several times, and you brought it up, like this is one of your superpowers, and understanding how that superpower can also be a weakness in a way. And I think for me, I'm learning in this season how to navigate through my strengths and how my strengths can become a weakness in different spaces. And so I saw you do this at obviously we're going to talk a little bit about it. I want to talk a little bit about Ignite, but you did it when we did a series of the Power Up interviews, and I saw you do this on there. So I'm gonna steal this from you. I'm gonna say one word.
All right.
And you got to give me the first word that comes to mind.
Okay, cool.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Faith.
God.
Love.
Agape.
Mas LaRae.
Oprah. I keep seeing it like it growing and growing, and I see the set. We
was just talking about this in here the other day. Oh my God. I'm going to keep going. Light.
Vision.
Money.
Helpful.
Purpose.
Driven. Life.
God.
Everything.
Want to run it back? I'm going to see if you give me the same words.
I probably won't.
Faith.
Hard work.
Love.
Love is love.
Love is love. Mas LaRae.
Connector.
Light.
God.
Money.
Need more.
Purpose.
Passion.
God.
Everything.
Ooh. I think you got 2 out the 2. No, I love that. And it's funny because I had a crack up on Oprah. We were just in here last week and we were talking about it. And I was like, I think I tapped into my inner Oprah with my cut. You know, when she got fired.
Yeah, I feel like that was
Chicago, and she was like, okay, I'm ready.
Yep,
I'm ready. So that definitely made me laugh.
I mean, you ready?
Oh, we're grinding. We're here for sure. No, I love the words. I love that. When I saw you do this before, I'm like, that's good. You know, how to incorporate that in just conversation.
Right.
Because I struggle with things being so serious, like all the time. So it's like, Alysha, you can smile, you can have fun, you can find joy, right? And I find that in my business relationships too. Like we'll talk and like we'll jump right into deliverables. Okay, we got about 10 minutes here, so where are we at with things, right? But we've been more mindful on the check-in. How are you, Alysha? Even if it's a fluff,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
But being conscious and more intentional about that.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's important.
We need it because people are either drawn too far to the left or too far to the right.
Yep.
I just had a good buddy of mine. We just had a conversation. We caught up, hadn't talked in a couple of weeks, and he goes into the business. He's talking about business. I had to stop. I say, in this moment, I don't want to hear anything about your business. I want to hear about you. I don't care. I care, but I don't care right now. Right? We can always get back to that. We do that well.
Yeah, let's check in.
Let's check in.
Yeah, I think it's important for sure.
It's a necessity because one of the 4 pillars that I strongly believe in that we need as people is community. Right? And we saw that through the pandemic. It crippled us. Now we're trying to reestablish what community looks like. There's so many fancy names for it, but we're trying to reestablish what that community looks like. And part of community is being able to communicate. It's being transparent. And people within that community, everybody's at different points. Everybody's going to do different things. So when community is working properly, we should all be able to help one another, right?
Yep.
You know, be able to kind of walk through this thing and just make it a little bit easier than it would have been without.
So talking about that, and as we wrap up, I want to shine a little bit of light on Ignite with Light, because that was part of the vision of why we wanted to create a network. One to cultivate community. The other one is that connection, that wanting to find other builders, other movers who want to and intentionally work with others. Like I've used the word gladiators. We're using vendors, right? It's like building that force, that power, that multiplication of when you connect your light to my light and my light to your light, what can we co-create together? And so Ignite with Light has been something we've been working on for almost 2 years now. And it's evolving, it's growing, and it's been something we've co-labored in through the rough patches, right? We learned a lot, we matured a lot, but I believe we have a very clear vision of where we want to go. So I want to just kind of get your thoughts on Ignite with Light, and what's that mean to you personally?
I'm excited about what it holds for the future. Like, I really am, just seeing things develop. And Ignite with Light, at its core, for me, it represents an outlet that I might not be able to directly provide for somebody through my business, right? Being able to connect with people, have those conversations, but also being able to maybe point them in the right direction where they can get something, educate them, resources, new business relationships. All of those things kind of foster together, and even receiving myself, right? Everything that a member would receive is the same things that we receive. That's how we built it. Right? And not to go too far left, but we did it with the Ignite. But when we developed it, a lot of times when people are developing a business, they try to go find the customer instead of creating the customer, right? It's your business. You create it, right? So Ignite with Light, we've created that culture. We've created that community. So when you're talking about light being with light and building, if the light's not there, you're not going to want to build, and that's fine. You're probably not. This isn't the best place for you, right? If collaboration isn't your thing, then that isn't for you, because this community, this culture, this is about collaboration. If getting to that next layer and having some growth and understanding that it's going to be some challenging times, you know, if that's not for you, this probably isn't the place, right? So just being intentional about creating what that looks like, and then inviting the people in.
Right.
This is what, hey, we built this for you, right? Because this is what we want, right? So we built this for you, and we know we're not the only ones that want this. And we've seen just from, you know, our experience that people love it and they need it.
Right.
So let's just continue to feed it to them. And that light piece is so important. And if your light isn't shining, I do want to clear that up, because there's a difference between light shining, light dim, and light not being there.
Yeah.
Right? Some light is better than no light, and we want that light because we know where it comes from, and we know what it's possible of. We know that without light, we can't see. That's why I said vision. You need light for vision,
right?
Unless you're just stumbling around in the dark.
Yeah, and I think that's been my biggest takeaway with it, has been not forcing it on people and not trying to fit people into a mold, because what we're looking is to break the mold.
Sure.
So light is it breaks through, like the little crack in the window, right? It breaks through any of that. And I think that's been my biggest lesson, and what I'm continuing to work through is like, we don't want to fit nobody in. If it ain't for you, and it's not for you, right? We want the right people, and we want to continue to expose it. So that's why it's been great working with you and creating it, co-creating it, and seeing what's gonna come next, for sure. So with that being said, like what do you want to leave the show with, the platform with? Last thoughts and words from our guest, Sir Evans.
So I'll do this all in one punch. One of the biggest things I learned from takeaways from 2022, one thing that's going into 2023, and I think it's one of the most beneficial things for the audience, is the time is now. The time is now. I heard it said that it might not be your season, but even if it's not your season, it's still your time, right? I truly believe it's always going to be your season, and it's just about what is that season taking you through. Being intentional with this time that we have right now, because this is all that we have. So the time is now. Maybe it's not your time to open up that business. Maybe it's not that time to walk away from that relationship, but it's your time to learn something from it. It's your time to do something in that moment that you can't wait till tomorrow to do. Tomorrow has its own time.
Right.
Now is your time to do something. Take it and take advantage of it.
You guys heard it here first. The time is now. My brother, my partner in crime, Sir Evans, thank you for joining the show, the platform, blessing us. You guys been tuned in. You heard some good news today. I appreciate you guys stopping by the LaRae show. Never miss a beat, so stay mic'd up with LaRae. We're signing off. Peace.